Good morning. It's 7 a.m. I woke up at 6:30 a.m. with pains and that, and I couldn't stay in bed any longer, so I'm still kind of half asleep. In the previous video, I says I was going to do a session, so why not while I'm having my morning coffee and that? And I'm going to do my old reliable. I did start off this video with an amplified speaker, and I normally don't use an amplified speaker with these because what happens is when you turn these on and you scan these and you put an amplified speaker on these, you also amplify the static and harshness. And I often I've often said that if you run these on their own, that they run better than sometimes the amplified speaker, because sometimes you got that amplified harshness. So that's why I'm going to run it on its own today. Now I'm going to have to press the button a number of times because it's not a perfect spirit box, because the downside to these is a lot of the time they do stop scanning and that, and you have to press it and that. But generally the sort of the listening audio is okay. There's not much noisy static or anything like that. Just it's clean. So I'm gonna run it, folks. I'm gonna turn this up here. 2021. Sometimes it takes a couple of minutes sort of to... Here, I'm pressing the thing already. Sometimes it's good to run it for a while, because if you do get responses and that, it doesn't happen straight away. It's sort of, you need to run it for a while. I'm running this radio, and I'm very sorry that I haven't done this in a while and opened up communication for you. I'm really sorry. But I'm here this morning to give you the opportunity to talk. I know it sounds kind of low, but I'll boost the volume in editing so you can hear it better. Can you tell me who's here, if there's anyone here this morning to talk? There we go, we stopped scanning. Oh, we're on FM, actually. We're on FM, so... Would you like to come through and speak? There's a slight bit of interference there. I can't help that with having electronic equipment around. Could you tell me how many is here today? Could you tell me where you are right now? Playing up this morning. Are you glad I opened communications for you this morning? I know it's been a long time. We're always fascinated how you do this. How you communicate. But we don't know how you communicate. Would I be insulting and calling you spurs or ghosts? If that's okay, could you say spirit or ghost and confirm that you're talking to me? Turn on my wee lights here. Oh. Want to sort of center it a little bit. I often used to ask, can you hear and see me? Can you hear and see me? Oh, I'm so tired. Yeah, there's less interference if I put the aerial down full line. I spoke too soon. As per usual, I'm not putting any subtitles, it's just recorded the way it is, really. How far I'm into this? 15 minutes. Is there anything important that you'd like to say? You know, I'm doing this today because to sort of get back in focus, because I did take a break for a week or two. Sort of more focus on other stuff rather than this, you know. Because I did tend to sometimes be over-focused on the one thing. No. My dog's looking for a treat. Always happens when I'm doing this. Oh, will you... That'll keep the dog occupied for a wee while.
Teachers expect to hear later on?
Well, what is going to be put in the amendment? Continue. Into this. With this. The chief examiner. I think they are.
I don't know anything about your world or your existence. Could you tell me about that? I'm gonna go soon. You got an opportunity to talk. You got an opportunity to talk before I finish up here. If anything you want to say. Can I ask, are you at peace in your existence? Are you happy or sad?
By the new stream. To the
I'm going to finish now. I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to say thank you. Right, I'm gonna finish that one. Nothing sort of stood out, but very often it's when you listen back that that it's sometimes starts to become a little bit clear that maybe there was some sort of communication there. But thing is, you can't be called out. People say to me, I want to start a paranormal channel, but I'm afraid about all the drama and being called out if I make a mistake. If you don't make any huge claims and sometimes maybe mistakenly, if you don't make any huge claims and just present stuff the way it is, you can't be called out on it, you know what I mean? I done a Spirit Box session. I didn't claim there was anything on it. I didn't put any subtitles on it, but when I do put subtitles on it, this is the trick. If you put a subtitle on, and you put a word, which usually it's one or two words that comes up on these, not whole conversation sentences, not big long sentences and that. It's usually one or two words or three or four at the most kind of thing. If you put a question mark at the end of it, you can't be called out on it because you're not claiming that it's gospel. You're just making a suggestion, making yourself open that you possibly could be wrong, but you're just putting it out there. It might be right, it might be wrong. Question mark, you can't be called out on a question mark if you put that question mark in yourself. I did get a question, and it was regarding the Tesco box that Proven Demons uses. Now, I don't watch a lot of these channels anymore and stuff like that. They were asking, is there anything special about that radio that he's using? The simple answer is no. I have manual radios. Some I like them, some I don't. And the radio that he uses, he plays it like a violin and he's used to it. And when you see him tuning it and stuff like that, he's concentrating on it. To me, actually, that is quite a difficult box because all your stations are on half a turn. So all the stations are very close together. And if you turn the dial too fast, it doesn't sound very good, so you have to be very, very slow. And because of the side of it, he plays it like a violin, and he's used to that. And what I'm saying is, it's whatever you're used to, do you know? And then you've other people have asked me, I'd love to do paranormal investigating, but I can't afford a PSP7 or I can't afford a Spirit Box and stuff like that. One of my favourite radios to have in my bag, and it's not as much as a PSP7, but this is actually quality, unlike the PSP7, which is a pile of junk, thinking build quality wise. It's a pile of rubbish. You know, you're paying 80 quid for a very small, plasticky, badly made Spirit Box. Don't get me wrong, it works. It does work. Well, the speaker doesn't work. You have to get this. You get this lollipop speaker with it, and people have asked me about the new version of it. The new version of it is probably the old version with a couple of bells and whistles on it. What I was expecting was, if there was going to be a revised PSP7, that it would look something like that. You know, nice, good quality radio. Now, this is an ordinary radio. It's nothing special. It is a high quality radio because it's a Tascam, so it is expensive for a radio because it's £50 for a small radio, but it's a lot cheaper than a PSP7. Now, the reason why I like this one is because the tuning knob, when you turn the tuning knob, you don't, you know, you've got some of these radios. You move your finger down, and it gets to the end, and then you have to go back up again. With this one, you just keep turning it like this, similar to actually the Radio Shack. The Radio Shack, you can actually, if you bought one of these and kind of got. Some people have got ripped off. You get, sometimes you get these on eBay, or 12-587 Spirit Box for sale, and that you buy it, and it's not even hacked. And then you've got 3 variants of this. The first variant is the one that can be hacked. The other few, you can't hack them and that. But if you have one of these and you can't, you're stuck with it because it can't be hacked, it is still a good. It's a good manual because it's got the same sort of type of wheel, tuning wheel, as this other one here. Now, just.
Yep.
Are you still here?
What it's called.
In some ways, this is better because it won't stop scanning unless you stop moving your finger. Are you still here?
Trump is. Company book. 9. Georgian.
It's still. The thing about it is, find a radio that's actually comfortable for you. I use this one above this one on a manual scan because if I'm going to manual scan this one, I'm going to turn it rather than do this, which I have to extend my finger. I'm going to use it backwards. I'm going to have the back of it facing this way, so my finger is near the dial and more comfortable for it. But the thing about it is, it just won't stop like that. and you have to move back, you can turn it in the one direction all the time. You know, you've got all kinds of radios in all kinds of different sizes, and if you go into a shop, which is very difficult at the moment, but whenever you get a chance to go into a shop and you have some of these radios on display, you know, and if you have one, if they have a tuning dial on them, you know, people are asking me what's the best manual tune. It's the one that's the most comfortable for you. This one I'm used to it because the way I use this one, and this has got a very powerful speaker on it. Your volume is here, your tuning is here, and it is in a comfortable spot. So what I will do is, and that's it. And if I want to change direction, I just go like that. Are you still here? And very often when I'm holding it on its side like that. And I'm just spinning it like this. And I'm that used to it. You want a radio where you don't have to put your hand or finger in an awkward position, that you can spin it comfortably, you know? Are you still here? Can you still talk? Could you tell me if Manny's communicating right now, because I don't know. I can't see.
Jeez.
The sound of this is good quality, you know. It's got a small speaker, but it works.
Who said?
Can you hear me and see me?
Well,
See, you can do this. You don't need a support box. Just get a comfortable radio, a radio that's comfortable for you to use.
An Irish.
You know, if you're able to do this for 15 or 20 minutes, the reason why you say comfortable is because you are going to be doing a session for 15 or 20 minutes. You don't want your hand in a comfortable position. To me, this is comfortable for me. I can turn this naturally like this. And it's not putting any strain on me. So it feels less of a chore. Do you like this radio?
Rise up.
It's powered off. It's time to power off. That it was just that setting. But yeah, I mean, like, yes, that's a sort of an expensive radio for the size of it, but it is good quality. You know, it's comfortable for me. But you know, you can get cheaper radios out there. You know, and just get one that try and get one that you're comfortable in using. Otherwise, you're not going to tend to use it. Do you know? It's an alternative to. It's an alternative to using a spirit box. Now, people say, well, you know, that's not a proper spirit box. And these are the ones that sometimes they're not educated in spirit boxes. But even a PSP7 spirit box is just a scanning radio. That's all it is. You know, people say, oh, I don't like the hacked radios. They're not a real spirit box. But the PSP7 is, because it was built to be a spirit box. It's the same thing. It's a scan radio. It's worked off the same basic thing. And people often say these things, and it's just pure nonsense. So don't feel like you have to buy a PSP7 or an S-Box because it was designed to be a spirit box and not a hacked radio. Because at the end of the day, the hacked radio and these other spirit boxes are exactly the same thing. But when you're manually moving your finger up and down on these, it behaves in exactly the same way, except for you're spending less money. Do you know? And I've learned in the last while, and it's sad to stay away from most paranormal equipment companies, because I've been stung a few times in 2020, and if I don't get it resolved, there's two companies at the moment that have not sent their product, and the spirit boxes were expensive, and I'm giving them 30 days. If they don't resolve this in 30 days, I will spill the beans, believe me. I'm going to give them a chance. I've given them more than a chance. I'm waiting over 10 months. I'm waiting almost a year for two spirit boxes from two different companies. It just happened that I've been stung twice at exactly around the same time. Do you know? So, you know, a lot of these companies, some of these companies don't have their books in order, and it's sad because every different hobby has a small industry around it. And yes, people say that, you know, some of these people that make these industries are greedy and stuff like that, but a lot of the other hobbies, the industries support the hobby. But very often in the paranormal, it doesn't feel like that. Do you know? That's why some people get put off by the paranormal. They're sick of getting ripped off and stuff like that. Because when it comes to other hobbies that make equipment for that particular hobby, people want quality. And quality is very often lacking in the paranormal. You'll get some of these things that you have to pay a lot of money, and they're very simple, badly assembled stuff. So, you know, I've talked about paranormal equipment companies before. I'm not a huge fan of them. You know, I've had my ups and downs throughout the last couple of years. But, yeah. I don't know. I'm going to listen back to this Spirit Box session because nothing sort of stood out to me. But very often, it's when you listen back, it's when you get... You either have got results or you haven't, you know. So, you know, and doing these Spirit Box sessions, doing them raw, just record. And very often when I'm listening back and I do get something, sometimes I don't even point it out. I know it's there. But, you know, if you've heard anything, just put it in the comments and I can go back and look at it. And I can see, did I hear what you heard, you know? But that's what I do with Spirit Box sessions. You just put them out, turn the radio on, and let it go. Don't make any huge, massive claims. No jump cuts or anything like that. Just let it run, you know? Folks, I'm still waking up. What time am I? I don't know. It's still dark anyway, and I'm still half waking up. I'm about to go to my second cup of coffee this morning to try and wake myself up. So we'll see you in the next video, and I have a story brewing up in my head. I'm going to talk about it. People are asking for the ghost stories and that. And very often I would talk about these ghost stories and have an excuse that, well, you know, this story was told a long time ago. And very often what I would come out with is I take these stories with a pinch of salt, because very often the social media of the day was word of mouth in the public houses. And when you're talking about telling stories in public houses, when people are half cabbaged on very strong beer, stories can be elaborated and then later on put in books. But I've had one or two stories that I've experienced myself. I can't use that excuse, you know. So I have one or two stories of my own personal experience. I could talk about those. I will still talk about some of the local ghost stories. And yeah, you know, it's something to get us through these lockdowns and that. So yeah. Right, I'm going to get myself a cup of coffee, and I'll see you in the next one, folks.